Welcome, everybody, to the World's Worst Podcast. I am, as always, Devin.
And I remain Ben.
Today we'll be talking about fountain pens, the vanishing of Ethan Carter, campus tours, ontology, and human communication. Also, we will be not talking about the Twins Peak episode that we had asked you guys to watch last week.
Sorry, guys.
Normal life stuff. Next week, we will be doing two. So we will be doing episode 2 and 3. And I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. Today, our introduction music is pound sign started.
I believe that's a hashtag. Old man.
Off of the album Winter, 2 W's, 2 R.
Just like last week.
Just like last week. By Elk Track. And we will have that and everything else in the show notes.
Enjoy.
Bye, guys. What did you do today this week?
This week? I mean...
What did you do today this week?
Today this week. As opposed to the today of last week or something like that.
Or the entire day.
How about today, comma, this week? I'm sure that's what you meant, right?
Yep.
Yeah, not much today. This is pretty much the first thing of the day every time we do it. Oh, I guess I woke up and watched... There's this regular Sunday released YouTube video series that I watch. It's by Yahtzee Croshaw, he of Zero Punctuation, on the escapist.com.
Oh, okay, Escapist. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, for the past few months now, he's been recording a regular, thing they call Let's Drown Out, where it's him and his friend, and they play a game, but it's primarily just meant to be backdrop for them talking about shit. It's very interesting and kind of a nice way to wake up on a Sunday morning to watch a couple people get into things, and I don't know, I enjoy it. But so I watched that. And
1 second, Ben. What did you say after? It's a great way to wake up in the morning, because you completely cut out there for a moment.
It's a great way to wake up on a Sunday morning, and I don't know. There was kind of nothing important there, so don't worry about it.
I think that's a great format if you're given that you're enjoying the conversations that are being had.
Yes, of course. It's a very important part of it. But yeah, this week was, man, it was a busy week, especially at the end of the week. I essentially lost a day, like we were talking about before the show, because on Friday, and I kind of forgot about it until Wednesday, which is bad because by Wednesday I need to make sure I know what I need to do Thursday and Friday to keep up with schoolwork.
Right.
So, or to get ahead of it the way I want to, at least. So, going back to the first or second week that I was here, towards the start of classes and everything, they sent out an email to the graduate students in my department to say, hey, we need somebody to volunteer for this thing they're calling a quote-unquote treasure hunt for the building, which is just a framework for getting a bunch of people who work in the building that my department is in and going around and evaluating energy usage, sort of climate issues like, ventilation and heating and air conditioning, and other things like that. Just making sure like things are working properly, and then as part of a larger university program, trying to see where we can find additional energy conservation and that sort of thing. So because it was kind of framed in this initial email from the department as hey, we just need somebody to kind of do this, and like this sort of phrased it jokingly as a sacrifice, I was like, okay, I'm going to throw myself at this, because this is like, I don't really know anybody yet, so maybe this would be a good way to sort of look good, like put my name on something that's like, hey, he was willing to do this thing that no one really cared about. So, of course, it turned out to be, I think, a very useful exercise, and they definitely, the people that were organizing it from the larger university sort of administration or whatever, definitely had the right mindset about how to approach something like this, and are really trying to do good. And so in that regard, it was nice, but it also took up my entire fucking Friday. So just walking around the building, I learned a lot of stuff. I got to see the campus TV station is housed there, and so I got to see their studios, which are fucking like full-sized TV studios.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I was just blown away to see, like, their primary studio can fit 200 people, and like it was just amazing. I didn't even realize that that much stuff was there, but so that was cool, and learned a bit about the history of the building as well, and then identified some clear issues that will need to get updated in terms of like HVAC stuff, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, particularly on the top few floors where the offices are. This is boring. I don't know why I'm continuing to go into detail, but the point is, this was my whole Friday, and so by the end of the day, like, it was good because I was like on my feet walking around, which I guess is nice, and they gave us lunch, which was good. I came back home and I was just like, fuck everything. I just sat down to watch my favorite video gaming website, GiantBomb.com's Unprofessional Fridays live stream that they do, and then like went to bed around 9 because I had to be up at 6 to like for this thing that started at 8. Right. So I was just like so dead by the end of the day. But so that was like that was kind of the sucky end of the week, and then like I work all day Saturday, so it's just like But Thursday was great because I got, as I mentioned to you during the week, I got to have my first team or meeting with my professor's research team that I'm joining for this semester, and well, I think it's the whole academic year really. One of the actually a professor who just recently this semester rejoined the program. He was a graduate from here, I think it was like in 2009, and then he ended up at a different university, and then there was an opening this year, so he came back here, and he's doing research in computer-mediated communication, particularly with this semester, or this year, we're looking at credibility and online reviews, and how or whether, like continuing to investigate whether or what effect credibility has on a person's perception of the accuracy of online reviews of things, and whether agreement is fostered through measures of credit, like assessments of credibility. So, like one of the things specifically, there were a couple papers that the other 3 doctoral students already in the team had read for this meeting this week, which I hadn't yet because I had just joined, of his previous research. That was like one of the interesting findings was that particularly for negative reviews, people, even if they agreed with the assessment, like if they also thought the service or product or whatever was bad, they consistently found negative reviews to be less credible, or ranked them as being less credible, despite the fact that they would agree with it.
That's really interesting.
So that's one of the things we're hoping to look at going forward. And apparently one of the doctoral students in my group is doing a course in physiological measurements, like specifically one of the ones we were hoping to harness is eye tracking software, so that when we have somebody sitting in front of a computer and looking at these sample reviews and things, we can see where they're looking and what they're focusing on, as opposed to just having to rely on self-report surveys at the end. So that's something that could be really cool, and we'll see where that goes. So that's really cool. Like that's super exciting, because there's, like as a master's student, I'm getting this opportunity to like figure out and potentially put my name on published research from the start. So like this is a huge opportunity for me, and I'm very excited to get into it.
Yeah, yeah, you already said it, but I was like, it has to be pretty exciting to be able to put yourself on published work. Yeah,
I conceivably within a year and a half, like before I even do my master's thesis, I could theoretically like punch my name into an academic search engine and have something come back. That's a really cool thought. Yeah, and then in other like academic excitement, the kinds of things that get my academic self like super horny. I had a great moment in my Monday class where I like totally crystallized everyone's understanding of a topic we were discussing in a way that even made the professor go, well, I'm stealing that. Because we were like, it was just like, oh yes, like huge ego boost. We were talking about it. This was in my class on communication theory and the foundations of theory in our studies. And so like as a person who has some background in philosophy, like a lot of this stuff was pretty familiar to me on some level, at least conceptually. Even if I can't always remember the vocabulary words, which I think I now finally have down, in terms of like ontology and epistemology. Like I always forgot which was which, or which, like what each one meant, but I've got it now.
Yeah, ontology is the study of what exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then epistemology is what is knowledge.
Well, yeah, literally it's the study of knowledge.
Yeah. Like, how can we say we know something? And then, ontology being like, how can we say something is real or something exists? And so, yeah, it was particularly with ontology that I had my moment. Because in the field of communication, or human communication, there are sort of three main ontological positions. And the sort of, you can put them on a spectrum, and so for me, like left to right, because this is the order I was introduced to them in, and as a English speaking like American cultural person, like left to right becomes my default ordering. But so in the initial position, you have the realists who hold that communication, these ideas and sort of communication theories, or the things that the theories describe, are well and truly real, in the same way that a table is real, or you and I are real, right?
So wait, is that the idea that the thing being referred to is a real thing?
So yeah, so
the
like
statement itself. Yeah,
the example being that we talked about in class, and I think is pretty simple to understand, is the concept of face. Of the projection of yourself that you communicate to others in public or even interpersonal situations. So a realist would say that face is a real thing, that it exists, and we are just coming to understand it.
Face is real.
So like I'll provide my great synthesizing statement at the end here. So if it's a little confusing now, don't worry, we'll get there.
I'm just having a problem understanding what, cutting down what it's specifically referring to. Is that including body language and things like that?
You mean by face, or? a face just being the concept of the essentially it's the way you want people to see you. So
I see. So it's the conception of someone's personality, not the
yes, and specifically that which is projected out to others.
And the claim is that it's a physical thing.
That it's So the realist would say that something like face, as an example, is a real thing.
Okay.
So moving along the continuum, the next stop would be the social constructionists, and they believe that the reality of concepts like face is purely based on our social construction of it. Or, to put it another way, face only exists to the extent that we in society create it and believe in it. So face is a product of how we interact. We make face a thing and act as if it's real. But if one day we all got together and said, nah, face isn't real, fuck face, it would just not exist anymore and wouldn't matter to anybody or anything.
So as a society, we are creating it ontologically. So
yes.
It's a matter of metaphysics. Okay, I see.
Yeah. If you want to go to that level. And then the next stop, and then the other end of the continuum, then to the next level, or the next stop from social constructionists, are the nominalists, and they are the ones who would say that, look, face is just a name. It's a name we give to this group of human behaviors. The names don't matter. They have no real existence. They do not exist. They are just these words we use to categorize things. What's real are the behaviors that underpin, that exist under this category of face.
So just for my own understanding, it's could be phrased as the term face refers to a set of human behaviors, not to a specific individual ontological thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and so for the nominalist, it's just a name. The thing that is real, the thing that exists, are just the behaviors that go under that name.
Okay.
So, and I think even that was a more... Well, I mean, you're going to be primed to understand things like that more than a lot of the people in my class were. So I think that maybe made more sense than it did to them, or that sort of thing. But the thing that occurred to me was, like, we were trying to figure out a good way to understand that, particularly that realist social constructionist distinction about, like, the idea that face is a real thing for a realist, or that a social constructionist or someone straddling the line between realist and social constructionist would treat face as a real thing. Oh boy, I gotta shut my window here because now it's suddenly raining. It's like getting a bit on my computer here. Sorry.
No worries.
Hold on.
Gotta save the electronics.
Yeah. That's okay. We're good. It was a light rain, but it was very sudden. All right. Anyway, so the hard part was trying to come up with an understanding of what it means when we say face is real. And the thing I thought of eventually, it didn't come to me right away, but that doesn't matter because I still wowed everybody with it, is to say that face is real is a weird thing, because it's, like, easy to understand what is real in terms of, like, physical objects. This chair that I have here is real. This desk, this computer, these physical objects that you can pick up and touch and do things with. Very easy to understand the reality of those things. But more abstract concepts are harder to quantify. You can't pick up a pound of a feeling, right?
Right.
But there are things in the world that we know to be real, or I should say, we hold to be real, that certainly the physical sciences hold to be real, that aren't tangible in that same way. Gravity being a good example of that. So, the astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said one of the best things that I've ever heard on the subject of scientific truth, or scientific facts, at least. And that is, scientific facts are those which are true whether or not you believe in them. Gravity will affect you regardless of what your beliefs are about it. So, in that sense, gravity is real because it's going to affect you no matter what you believe about it. And in the same way, a realist would argue, face is real because they would say face will affect you whether or not you believe in it. It's this thing that already exists in the universe. We're just coming to understand it and quantify it in some way.
Right.
A social constructionist would say face is real whether or not you specifically believe in it. Though they would argue that there is still this element, depending on how exactly the social constructionist chooses to understand it or chooses to explain it. But they could say that face is real, quote unquote, insofar as society collectively believes it's real. No individual person is enough to change the quote unquote reality of face. And so, bringing in that example of gravity and it's going to affect you whether you believe in it or not, and phrasing it in those terms, lit up some eyes and got some people taking notes. So I was very proud of that.
It's a good example. Or a good way of characterizing, I should say.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm done showing off my massive academic erection. How was your week?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Pretty uneventful. It's heading towards the end of the month, so like any good things that are happening, I have to create those good things, kind of thing.
Right.
Because I'm broke, but I have let's see. I watched a live stream, let's play kind of thing of on Twitch. I don't know if you know the it's not really a let's play, but if you know the reviewer, there's a specific way he refers to himself, and I can't remember the specific titles, but anyway, Total Biscuit.
Oh yeah, the cynical Brit.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite people in gaming.
And for good reason.
Yeah, and he did a preview. He played a preview build of a game called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's first person murder mystery, point and click.
Okay.
And they've done some very, very cool things with it. It's kind of dreamy. Like this guy is told to go to by a friend to. His friend's gone missing, and he goes to this place to try to find him. And he stumbles on a crime, and the way they're kind of sorting that out is this dreamy kind of stream of consciousness examination of the crime. Of the crime.
Okay.
And they characterize this or stylize this by having the words of the thoughts float on the screen rather than having a narrator. And the more time you spend on that, the more information you gain. Also, you can find clues, and once all the information is given to you, the clue will have a bunch of questions popping up, the same question over and over and over again. And as you look around, if you're holding the interact button, the questions will solidify into one question, the same question, but only one token of that question.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be the direction you need to go to find the next clue. So it's super stylized, but not extremely. Like, it's really gritty feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supernatural, but it doesn't hit you over the head with the supernatural part. It is super ambivalent until the very end, whether or not it's supernatural. So I'm excited to see the game come out. It comes out in a day or two.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It comes on GOG. GOG.com.
Oh yes, good old games.
Yeah, I am only vaguely familiar with GOG at all. So
It's a great website. They if our dear listeners don't know it, it is as the name suggests, it's primarily a repository for older PC games, going back to like I think they go all the way back to like the early '90s.
holy crap!
And they they have regular sales, and they're generally reasonably priced, and they're completely DRM free, so you can buy it, install it wherever, and really own it in a way that is becoming increasingly rare, particularly with the way digital sales are going. So
Holy shit!
Yeah, and actually they that company is part of, or I don't know exactly what the technical relationship is, but it's essentially CD Projekt Red, the people who make the Witcher games, with the big Witcher 3 coming out this year, which I'm very excited for. They're the ones who started that site and manage it, so that's also kind of an interesting connection there.
Yeah, that's the only other reference I've ever heard of GOG from is in relation to the Witcher project.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and that's why.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to go to their site. I've never actually been to their site, so I had no idea what
check it
they
out.
did or not. I'm going to have to, because like there are games from that era that I would love to be able to buy and play without mucking about.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's not they don't just they don't just take them and like get the rights to them and sell them. They will also do work to make sure, or as best they can, make sure that they work properly on modern machines.
Oh, very cool.
So that's really cool of them, and it shows a commitment to it beyond just putting up a storefront. So I want to say, what was it? They recently, within the last year, they had a big thing about. Now I'm gonna feel real dumb because I can't remember what it was. I think it was. Oh yeah, it was like System Shock 2. They were able to, because that was a game that a lot of people really enjoyed, but it was caught up in so many different rights issues of like who actually owned that IP anymore, because of all the weird way that went down at some point in like the early 2000s. And also it was largely unplayable without like a fan patch on modern machines for people who still had access to the game. And then they worked a lot on it and got the rights, and now sell it in their store in a format that works out of, sort of quote unquote out of the box, without any specific fan patches required.
Okay.
So yeah, they do good work if you're into that era of PC games, and they sell new games too. So it's not just a repository for older stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing I've been doing is drooling over and planning my next pen purchase.
Ah, yes.
The only thing that's kept me from diving headfirst into this horrible addiction is a lack of money.
Of course. Yeah.
I gave you some links there, and we'll put them in the show
Got
notes,
all those
of course.
open.
The pen I really, really, really want, and if I wasn't planning to go out and see Lawyer Girl in May, I would buy this pen straight out, and it's the Monteverde Regatta Sport, and it's a medium, and it's only $100 on Goulet pens, and I want it so badly. It has this amazing magnetic clip, and it's carbon fiber and steel. And what I want right now is it has a black nib and it's yellow. It alternates between black and yellow on the body, and it's a beautiful pen. It does the classic or the international converter and the cartridge as well.
Now, what do you mean international converter?
Well, there's cartridges, and they're not showing them here in the thing, but cartridges hold a predetermined amount of ink. I think it's 0.5 milliliters. I'm not sure. And then you can get a converter, and the converter, what it does is you can fill it with fountain pen, or not fountain pen, jeez, we're talking about fountain pens. You could fill it with bottled ink.
Oh, okay.
The cartridges are proprietary, almost certainly, and
Right.
only come with, of course, the preset colors in them. And some people will fill cartridges back up,
Mm.
but part of the fun of fountain pens is using bottled ink, and you can get better pen usage by using a converter. I mean, there's other ways other than a converter. Like there's squeeze filled, and there's different kinds of converters. There's also what's called eyedropper fill, which I'll get to in a little bit as I talk about this other pen.
We're going deep.
Yeah, but the cool thing. One of the great things about this pen, this is a reissue of the pen. 6 months ago, they had what's called just a Monteverde Regatta, which is really, as the name suggests, a real regal looking pen. Like it looks like it's a miniature scepter almost. In some of them, it's kind of crazy, but this is really an industrial. It's an industrial feel, which is much more up my alley than the some fountain pens have the problem of looking like pretty old boy or like too regal too fancy for my personality and taste.
Right.
And this is flashy without being that.
Like a more modern looking pen.
Yeah, like one of the big problems in the term it's furniture here. It's what it looks, what the attachments are to look like, the clip, the body, stuff like that. The furniture is typically like there's a lot of gold on there, like gold clips, or anywhere from just looks gold to actual gold.
Yeah,
and it's too gold is just it's gross. It's really gross.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't feel like something that is. It's meant almost more for display or showiness than it is for just like hardworking. I mean, yeah, industrial. I guess, like you said, something that looks like it's meant to be used.
Yeah, gold is tinsel. It's like tinsel. It's flashy, but with no substance. Like it has a set personality, but no depth to it. And I just can't stand it in jewelry and anything. I can't stand gold. But the other pen is the Platinum Preppy, which I gave you the third.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be getting this included in a deal with the second ink, or the ink I sent you. The Platinum Preppy is what's called a demonstrator or demonstrator. Ooh, now, yeah, I think it's a demonstrator. But in any case, it's a clear barreled pen, so you can see the ink. And what I was referring to before about the eyedropper, you can actually fill this entirely. The body of it, take that cartridge that's in there, which is also again a proprietary cartridge, completely out, and you can fill the body of it with ink, and then you put some sealant and a what's those little round things called?
An O-ring.
O-ring. Thank you very much. As
the description seems to say.
Oh, yeah. I suppose I could have just looked at the thing, but an O-ring on there,
right?
And you can get a pen will carry or hold up to typically half a milliliter to a milliliter, and like mine has a good my Pilot Metropolitan has about a milliliter or more, a little more in there. That's pretty standard. About a milliliter is good. It's a good amount. This can carry up to 6 milliliters. I think it is. It's either 3 or 6, but in any case, it's a considerable amount more.
Yeah.
And so you can get a lot more out of it, which is something I'm really looking forward to. And then this ink though is really neat. You can use it. It's highly resistant to forgery, so you can actually use this in a legal setting. So I'm super excited. I I'm trying to resist getting the Monteverde Regatta, but I'm getting that the Noodler's Black Erase water ace. I can't pronounce that. It's a Noodler's black ink, and it's a dark black, a cool, like a solid black, as opposed to being a cool or a warm black. But that's my.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and that's my future in pens so far. I think I might get another notebook actually, since I've been using my Moleskine for like a commonplace book, which is, you put. They used to have commonplace books. Used to be like you put measurements, like tables in there, and poems and quotes you needed to remember them. But I've been using mine for poetry and quotes. But I want one for a journal, and the Moleskines aren't good for fountain penning, so I've been considering getting a Rhodia Web notebook, which is just fantastic paper.
Do you need like a thicker paper for that?
Well, there's a lot of things that are going into paper, and without talking about all of them, you need ones that are water resistant, and because most of the inks that you're going to be using with a fountain pen are water-based. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say all of them are water-based. So you need something that's water-resistant, so it doesn't. And you want something that doesn't have, the term is teeth, which most people want a smooth paper. The ideal for most people is you want it to be writing like it's on glass.
Right.
And that's a product of the smoothness of the paper and the product of the pen and the ink. But mostly the paper, or a large degree of the paper. And with the Rhodia paper, it's super smooth, incredibly smooth, and it's 90-gram paper, I believe it is. Yeah, it's 90-gram paper, so it's heavier paper. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Well, yeah, you just sent me that link, and that's in the description there for the Rhodia Web notebook. Yeah, that looks like a much thicker paper.
Yep, you can, when tearing it, even like with my Rhodian, just regular pad I have, when tearing it, you can feel a substantial difference in that paper. So like if I was to put, like the Moleskine's like 2 or 3 steps down from the Rhodia. And Rhodia is great if you're using ballpoint or gel pens or something. That's fantastic, but not great for the fountain pen.
So I just want to know, because all of this talk about pens and paper and things, I feel like I'm on the precipice of joining you on this crazy journey if I'm not careful. But I just need to know one thing.
What?
Do you get a nice like scratchy sound when you write?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Shit.
You do.
Damn it.
And not only that, even with the ideal of gained glass, what you want is that scratchy sound, but without the feedback in your pen.
Right.
And if you get a Rhodia notebook and a decent pen, you'll get that. You'll get that feeling.
Shit.
Yeah, I was actually thinking I was going to buy you.
Now I want that. Yeah.
I was going to buy you as a gift the Metropolitan, because it's a fantastic entry level. It's the ideal entry level pen, and a notebook and some ink at some point, because I knew you'd love it. So, and it fits your handwriting style too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can worry more about that later. Because one of the things for me that's also like coinciding with this talk over the last couple of weeks is I recently was going back and rewatching and sort of immersing myself in Myst and Riven.
Oh, nice.
2 games that are all about like books and writing as this powerful transformative thing, literally. that just, and also just in terms of like playing them, it's really, there are games that require you to have a physical notebook to take notes and all of this. So it's like all of this like sort of nostalgia and just, you know, writing focused stuff, like just the pleasure of writing and the joy of, like, physical joy of writing. Oh, all right, well, let's actually, before we completely move off the topic, I have this letter here that you sent me.
Yeah, we should put an edit point here just in case you want to edit out what's on that paper, but I think you should read it up.
Here's so either you are about to hear what is in this envelope, or you are about to hear something completely different. So let's just see. Let's just see how this goes here. I have my Swiss Army knife here to help me open this thing. So I want to try and do it carefully if I can.
Yeah, you should read it verbatim.
Verbatim. Okay.
What did I say? Did I say verbatim?
I'm not a cat, so yeah. I don't know.
That's not even a thing.
Perbatum. We should make it a thing. In fact, I'm writing that down.
Nice.
Okay. Would you say perbatum like a cat with two R's, or is it like P-E-R or
P-E-R is probably what I said.
Perbatum? Okay. I'm gonna have to look up the etymology of those words now and see if we've accidentally created something interesting. Okay, so there's literally just like a small scrap of.
That's actually the Rhodia paper, by the way.
Okay, that's what this is.
I think it is. Yep.
And there is just written on it in I believe this is the copper ink which you use to address it as well.
Copper ink. Yep.
Yeah, and then you use the one of the black tones for the return address. Ben is a middle-aged Chinese woman. All right. I don't know what to say about that. I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
I'm just a 5-year-old. It's really just I'm a 5-year-old in a giant man's body.
I would say, I mean, if I am a middle-aged Chinese woman, Ben is a terrible name for a middle-aged Chinese woman.
Yes, I agree.
Let's just sort of break all this down here. You spent the cost of the envelope, the ink, this corner of paper, and like the 40-some cents for the stamp to send this like 1,000 miles. Well, actually, it's shorter than that, I guess, as the crow flies. For that,
yeah, we're nearing $1. I spent nearly $1, and all that time,
and all that time for that. Yep. All right. I'm not sure what that says or if it really means anything, but all right. Also, that is not how you spell my last name. God damn it.
It's not?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to have to send me your actual last name then.
I mean, obviously it didn't have any effect on it getting here because the address is more important. Actually, today, because, of course, living in an apartment that other people have obviously lived in fairly recent time, I got that first bit of improperly addressed junk mail to someone who used to live here, which is interesting. Always interesting to see who has been in a place before you.
Yeah. But at least this tells me that I can now send you a letter, which I've been writing. So.
Yes, yeah, it absolutely works.
A legit letter.
It looks like based on the postmark date, it probably takes about 3 days, or something to get here. Though
what was the postmark date?
The 17th.
17th.
And this probably arrived yesterday.
Oh, so 17th was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it takes 2 to 3 days then. Yeah.
Yeah, which sounds about right. So.
Yeah, because I put it in the rent box on Sunday the 14th. So, considering my mistake that took a remarkably short amount of time, I was kind of afraid it was going to take all the way into the 1st just to be sent out.
No. Well, I guess right. Yeah, because of the
Yeah, because I accidentally put 3 letters in the rent box as opposed to the outgoing box.
Okay, so
people have. Go ahead.
I was right about that then when you texted me earlier this week.
Yeah,
that was probably not the right place for those to go.
No, it was not the right place for it to go at all. The other people have not gotten their letters yet, but
okay. Well, I guess they have farther to go.
One has 5 miles, and the other one has 1,700 miles. No, 1,700 miles. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's funny the way some of that stuff works sometimes when you're sending things from very close locations. Like, I remember when I was a freshman at my undergrad school at where we both went.
Mm-hmm.
I was staying in the dorms, and for spring semester, because fall semester I got before fall semester I got my books and picked them up at the bookstore on campus. Mm-hmm. But for spring semester, I was like, well, bookstore gets crazy at the beginning of the semester. I don't really want to go there. So I was like, okay, I'll have them ship the books to my dorm. And that ended up delaying things by a couple days past when I would otherwise have gotten them. And it was really frustrating because I could look out my window in my dorm room, see the place where the books were starting from. And I thought, and I was looking at, I did that, and it was like the next day I was looking outside and went, what the fuck? The books are coming from a place that is like 2 blocks from me, going to like a warehouse, maybe in town or not, and then coming all the way back. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. I have just killed the planet by doing this. I guess because I wasn't expecting them to actually originate from the bookstore itself, but they did. So, yeah, that was exceedingly stupid. Yeah,
it's 1,450 miles and some change.
All right, don't get too specific now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, okay. So, anything else? I don't know. Like,
yeah, man, I don't know. Since we're waiting to talk about the
next episode of Twin Peaks. Yeah, I messed up. I was with my time the way it was this week. I wasn't able to sit down and watch that episode. I might be able to do it today. I don't know, but we'll get into that. I don't know. Is this week just going to be short, you think? I mean, unfortunately,
it might be a little short. I might have something else to talk about. But would you, since we're on the Twin Peaks topic, would you want to watch 2 episodes? And then I don't know what your time schedule is like.
They're half-hour episodes, aren't they?
45 minutes, but yeah.
45 minutes? Okay, yeah, that's because that would just be the same as watching the pilot again. So yeah, let's say, episodes, I guess technically 2 and 3?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, of the show for next week, and we'll talk about those.
And then our hope is that we'll also be playing Minecraft next week.
Yeah, we'll start, since I don't know if anyone else watched it, but I think we certainly enjoyed, dicking around with some video game stuff. Oh my goodness, I'm all burpy right now. I don't know why. So I guess I'm swallowing a lot of air in this talking process. But anyway, we had fun with that last week, so we're looking to do a little bit of side content, playing some Minecraft, cutting up some little episodes to release over the next couple weeks, and I don't know, yeah. Check our YouTube channel for that. But
yeah, dude, I forgot to tell you, I've been trying to learn how to play, or how to write cursive. And it's really difficult. Like, there's so many. Well, it's kind of difficult just to go from because you're doing new symbols in a lot of cases.
Yeah, like Q's are really fucking weird.
Yeah, and like I think it's F. Like it's not even remotely close to an F. It's more like an and symbol than it is to an F.
Yeah.
And.
Well, I think about it now, and I was actually going to debate you on that, and then I realized, no, it's really just, it seems so much like an F to me because it's just so ingrained in my head from when I learned cursive. So it's like, yeah, of course that's an F. I was like, well, actually, I mean, it looks nothing like we would normally. Well, I guess it's kind of similar. Well, that's still kind of stretching it. Kind of similar to like a lowercase f, but like all folded in on itself. I don't know. It's
kind of, but it's also weird. In that way, it's also closer to a capital E than it is to an F.
Also, what the fuck is with the capital Q in cursive? It's a 2.
I know.
It's a 2.
I know.
I could never. The thing that I learned cursive in elementary school and used it for a number of years, and can still do it, though not as smoothly as I used to be able to, I'm sure. But yeah, I the first thing I stopped doing when it was no longer an assignment was not using cursive capital letters. I print all my capitals if I ever use cursive.
When I was in school, I was in a small class because due to, for a lot of reasons, but one of them being that I was transferred around so often because I moved around a lot as a kid around Minnesota. That I was behind on some things that different schools did, essentially. And the teacher who was teaching us how to write in cursive was awful. The school I went to was just generally just really terrible. Like from the from the principal downwards, just terrible school. Yeah. And I'm in my 30s, so this was during the 80s, 80s, and so I was just like, no, I'm not going to learn this, and when I decide that I'm for sure not going to do something, or for sure going to do something, I'm that kind of person that just does it. It just happens, or doesn't happen. It's just not going to change, and. So I was rebelling against the teacher constantly, and so the principal, that douchebag, not for this reason, but for a whole slew of other reasons, brought me in and was trying to convince it was me and my dad and the principal, and the principal's like, he just refuses to learn cursive. He's not calling her names or anything. My dad asked him that, but he should be learning blah, 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 cursive. And so my dad looks over at me and says, do you think you're going to learn this? And I'm like, no. And he's like, it has some point to it. And he saw that wasn't going to change. So he just looked over and he's like, all right, stop trying to force him. And got up and left. And that's one of my better memories. It's one of my favorite memories of my dad. He's just like, well, don't try to force him. He's not going to learn it. It's not a huge deal.
He understood.
When you're that young, that's a pretty amazing thing to have happen.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yep. So that, and the fact that I'm going to be starting a new series as well. It's called Noragami by Funimation, and it's about this god who he's trying to become a bigger god through various means. And I'll just read the little very short paragraph, and that'll be done. Yamato may be a minor god, but he's got a plan to make it big. Unfortunately, things don't seem to be going his way. He doesn't have a single shrine dedicated to him. His partner has just quit, and now he's got to find a new divine weapon. It's kind of a shitty blurb there about it, but that's kind of that's the premise. But yeah, other than that, that's not all that's going on with me. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of it for me too. I mean, I got more studying to do today, so
right.
I don't fully mind wrapping up a bit early, but I think we got some good stuff in there.
Yeah, dude.
And I guess heading out here, we've got music from Menage a Quad. The song is called "Good Thing." I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's a wonderful song too, and thanks as well to Chris Gugliotti for our artwork. I keep forgetting to actually specifically thank him during the episodes, so that's been fantastic. I love looking at it every time I post these episodes. And go to our website, worldsworstpodcast.podbean.com. YouTube links are there as well. It's going to be the best way to find out everything that's going on with the podcast and what we're doing with other videos and stuff. And yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Take care.
Sometimes I let this kick speak for me, getting carried away with the temporary. It's the choices we make. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, saving the world. Look, mom, I needo, bandido. Just the right sauce for this beat burrito. Ingredient list includes a 4-leaf clover with a dash of Mary Jane. We can cure your hangover. Hangover, cure your hangover. Hangover, cure your hangover. Cure your hangover.
Hungover, close to done, no, I come like Han Solo, gun till I go broke. Cause I break bread, pass it to my own folks, laughing at my own jokes, tapping at your dope. So, better let me in, I brought a mess of friends, extra special on the estrogen. Instead of fell in love, but I left it then. I've never had a lot of drugs just to test it, man. No answer.